Hey guys, welcome back. So we're gonna start at the top here and be removing the valve cover first. So pull out the dipstick, get it out of the way, and then there's these 5 bolts that you want to remove as well. Then just grab the valve cover on the sides and pull up, kind of wiggle it, and it'll break free the seal. It's going to be on there pretty tight if it hasn't been off for a long time. Okay, next we're going to go to the timing belt cover, the top cover. Pull this rubber back and you can unplug that cam sensor right there. You just push in the clip and pull it out. And then there's a bolt below that, and then there's a couple other bolts on the cover here as well. And just remove all the rest of the bolts. So these bolts are special. They only go for the timing cover. They have a little sleeve on them, and that just prevents you from tightening them in too much and cracking the plastic of the cover. Okay, then just grab the timing cover and wiggle it out and you can remove it. So whenever you're done for the day, guys, just throw a garbage bag over whatever parts you have taken off. So if you got the valve cover off and you're like, okay, I'm going to work on this tomorrow, just put something over it like a garbage bag to keep debris and dust out of the engine. And a second quick tip is if you are going to be reusing your timing belt, maybe you just changed it and you think you want to reuse it, then label the direction the timing belt runs so that you put it back that same way, because you don't want it to wear out. If you reverse the way it runs, it can cause it to wear out faster. Okay, now I'm just turning the crank to top dead center at number 1 again. Should be there already, but if you're not there, we're going to do it again. We talked about it in the other video. So what you do is you rotate it counterclockwise until these 3 marks line up. You look through that top sight, and that little tick should line up with the tick at the bottom. So if you look through from the top, it should be like this. I'm looking, the camera's slightly off to the side so it doesn't look perfectly in line. It's called parallax view, but they should all be in line when you look straight down, just like looking through a gun sight. So now with the timing covers off, you can see the camshaft sprocket, and it actually says on it up, UP right there. So you want that to be facing exactly straight up. And there's also marks on the side of the cam gear. There's some on the front and the back. So they should be parallel with the top of the cylinder head. So where you took your valve cover off, you can put a ruler and go flat, and they should line up. Your ruler should line up with those marks, just like that. And you know then that your cam is in the right position, your crank is, so you're at top dead center on number 1. It's facing up, everything is good to go. Next, we're going to remove the crankshaft pulley, also known as the harmonic balancer. So there's a special tool that you see there, and it slides right into that hexagonal shape. And so with one wrench, you need to hold that still while you, with a wrench and socket, go through and loosen that main bolt that's holding it on. So you might need a friend to help you with this, or you can brace it on the ground or against a control arm and loosen that other bolt. You can break it loose. There's also a cheat. If you don't have that special tool and you do have an impact, you can often get lucky and impact it off. It's not recommended, but it does work. And then when tightening, you could also use the impact again and hope that it's the right torque. But yeah, that's just an alternative. Okay, then by hand you can just grab and wiggle the pulley out. Keep an eye out for the key. It just dropped out on mine. You don't want to lose that, so you'll want to keep that in a safe place as well. Wiggle the dampener out and keep the key somewhere safe with it. Okay, now we're going to be removing an engine mount, so we want to support the engine. So use a little jack and a piece of wood like this and put it underneath on the bottom of the oil pan and just jack up a little bit. You want to use the wood because it will displace the weight and it won't bend the pan. If you just use a jack, you could damage it, but this is how you do it properly. So put that there, and then we're going to go back up top and we're going to bust off these bolts here holding this main engine mount up here. Okay, then back underneath, we're going to remove the two bottom bolts for the timing cover, the lower timing cover here. So there's two right at the bottom here. So we're going to remove those first. Then there's another one right there, and another hidden one tucked right in that hole right there. This is the first one that we looked at. Okay, then I'm using a deep socket and just a really short extension was the right length to get this one. You could also use a short normal socket and a 3-4 inch extension would also work that way too. Just whatever the right length is to make it easy to access that bolt down the hole. Okay, then you can remove the cover, just pull it straight down. Mine looks like it's been quite weathered and a few of the places actually cracked. The ears on the side, one broke off and the other one kind of just snapped right through. So yeah, I'll have to try and fix that later. Here's another shot of all the bolts you need to remove. 3 up top and 4 on the bottom. Next, we're going to remove this bracket and all the bolts you see here in the diagram. So I'm going to start right on the front. So the bolt above the one we just took out is kind of hidden. Here's it out of the car. So you got to get the right length of extension and deep socket and you can get it out. So the bolt on the left is actually a little bit shorter than the other two bolts. So you want to keep it separate from them, or you want to just put some paint on it and mark where that short bolt goes. So I just used a paint pen and I just put a little dab on each one so I know later. But yeah, that one on the left is the shorter bolt. So with all that stuff out of the way, we can finally get a good look at the timing belt and all the things connected here. So we got the crankshaft sprocket on the bottom, and above that the tensioner, and then the water pump on the side, and then at the top we have the cam sprocket. So that does it for this video. I'll see you in the next video where we will continue removing the timing belt and tearing down the engine.